If you're stressed, if you're a little overweight, if you're not sleeping well, this video is for you. So recently I was asked to speak on a Christian radio station in Brisbane, Vision Radio, great. And I've spoken on there quite a few times over the last year or so. So they wanted me to speak on health, and they told me about all the other subject, great, amazing health professionals they spoke on. They said, so speak on something different. But I wasn't going to speak on those anyway. But one area, I wouldn't say I've mastered, but I am mastering. It's a commandment, actually. So they asked me, I said, I've got the best health advice ever. It trumps every other bit of advice you could ever get. It works for husbands, wives, men, women, children, business owners, athletes, everything. They're like, what is it? Of course, it's on radio. You can't see, but I could see what they're like. What? Where's he going? So anyway, I says it's Shabbat. Said the face, which means Sabbath, which means to stop working, stop worrying, stop striving, to stop and slow down, to rest and worship. And see, I think, and I've been guilty of it in the past, so I really understood what Sabbath actually is and actually how it plays out in my life, in my family's life, because it'll be different depending on what age, obviously, you are, your lifestyle, etc. So I'm going to give you some tips back into this video on how I do it, okay, how my family does it. But this is the thing I believe we've got to understand. We've got all this technology, we've got phones. You say to people, how you going? They say busy like it's a good thing. We're being advertised through our phones thousands of times each day. We don't even realise it. People sometimes sleep with their phones. It's the first thing they do when they wake up. They're engaged, they're wired. It's the last thing they do before they fall asleep. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I reckon I'm fortunate. I've had this technology and I haven't had it. So I can see how dangerous it is. But if all you've ever known is this stuff being on 24/7, man. Anyway, so this is going to help you. Mark 2:27. The Sabbath was made for man, okay? Rest was made for man. God knew you were going to need a rest. He knew it. But what happens if you don't know, which I'm going to explain in a minute, if you don't know how to actually do a Sabbath, which means is to rest and worship, what happens is you're going to have what I call a day off, and you're going to be restless. Not rest, you're going to be restless, you're going to be irritable, and you're going to be discontented. And maybe you've said, I just can't keep still. You keep checking your phone. There's nothing to check. You're checking this, you're checking. You're so wired. There's such a fast-paced world, you actually don't even know how to have a Sabbath. Or people who go to church, it's a Sabbath. Church is generally a busy day for me. I'm talking to people. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm picking up errands on the way back. Man, it's not a Sabbath. Maybe a day of work, but it's not a Sabbath. Generally, I'll come home and I'll feel like asleep. Leave me a comment if that happens to you. Church can be a lot, man. This is what happens. This is what I've seen in my own life. I remember when I first really started to practice this, and I've heard other men, particularly go through our man life experience, and particularly guys who are not familiar with the Sabbath or the principles or the practices, or even why God said you need to rest, they will just struggle. It's almost like when you stop, it's all your lustful nature will come to the surface. And when I say lustful nature, all your worldly desires, maybe it's like unhealthy food, maybe it's rubbish on TV, maybe it's all those other negative things, maybe it's just the crazy thoughts. Okay, so anyway, this is how we do a Sabbath at our house. Generally, Friday afternoon, we put away technology. Okay, no phones. Sure, we've got lights, that's there. But my wife prepares meals, okay? You don't want me cooking. My wife prepares meals, so then on the Saturday, we don't have to cook. So then distractions are gone. Generally, we'll have a great meal together almost to start the Sabbath or whatever. I love to see my parents, okay? maybe on a Friday afternoon, or have dinner with them Friday afternoon. Being back in Australia now, it's great that they're close by. I just so appreciate them, so I want to honour them, etc. Anyway, so that's a good way to unwind into a Sabbath. It gets dark. And we've picked up, I love to 24 hours, sundown to sundown on Saturday afternoon. So when we get up on Saturday morning, okay, I love to read the Bible, man. Remember, it's rest and worship. And so I love to play some music. Like, I always loved, particularly my youngest daughter, will say my other kids as well, but my youngest daughter, who's about 11 now, we've been really nailing this probably since she's been about 8. But I remember saying when we first started doing this, she goes, oh, when's the Sabbath start? Oh, are we just going to stay in our jammies Saturday morning? She got it, man. We needed a rest. And of course, when you got rid of those other distractions, you can rest, but then you can really give your time and attention to loved ones, to listen. I've heard a lot of people have said, oh, men, they're there, but they're not there. They're not present. This is the way, particularly as a husband, we can really start to be present and start to listen. And I love the Saturday morning where we can just have our own space, but we're together. We may have a healthy breakfast together. We might go for a swim or just something that's no effort, effortless. Generally by about lunchtime, man, what happens to me, I have to get a pad and pen. And of course, because the main thing about a Sabbath is really preparation. Prepare, as I said, preparing the meals, but we also prepare conversation. When I say conversation, I'm not going to talk about business. I'm not going to talk about my mission. We learn not to, because I actually get wound up. Because what happens normally about lunchtime of just resting and no distractions, man, what happened? I just start getting creative. I start getting the best ideas. I start going, oh man, this is gold. Particularly as I'm reading the Bible, and I might even sometimes get into other books, but we start to really have really great conversation. I start to ask my wife, my kids, tell me about your dream again. What do you really want to do? I'm present. And I can see each one of my members of my family, we're all doing it different, but we're all getting something different out of it. But the main thing is we're resting. They're watching their dad praise God. Thank God. And a good way, I think, to help settle down is that really I like to start it with what am I grateful for? What am I praying for? What am I believing for? I start to just really get back to, hey, less of me, more of him. And when I get to that place, man, it is so good. And sometimes I'll keep it going all the way to church on Sunday. Sometimes I'll keep it going. I'll come over from church and I'll continue with the Sabbath. But depending on what I'm up to and my energy levels, etc. But generally 24 hours, man, it's heaps. So I hope you got some value. Don't take my word for it. Actually try it. Actually do it. Make sure you prepare your families. Make sure you prepare yourself. And I'm sure it's amazing. You will love it. And let me recommend a book as well. This guy's amazing. There's one chapter on the Sabbath. The book is The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. That would be my suggestion. Great book. All right, over and out.